Welcome back. We're at the Wells Fargo Center here in Philadelphia, site of the Democratic National Convention. The convention is officially underway right now behind me amid controversy over the Democratic National Committee's email leak. Chairman Debbie Wasserman Schultz did not gavel in. In her place was Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. Joining me now to talk more about that and much more, Representative Eric Swalwell, who represents the California 15th Congressional District, and CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris. All right, so first let me ask you, Congressman, the absence of Debbie Wasserman Schultz right now, what is your reaction to just the last 24 hours of developments here?
Delegates came to this convention to nominate a president. We're going to do that tomorrow. She'll accept Thursday night. I think the American people will have a stark contrast in Secretary Clinton's acceptance speech on Thursday night from what they heard, the dark picture of America that Donald Trump painted last week. So I think that the top line takeaway is going to be her optimism and her picture for America of opportunity for all of us.
Okay. Do you want to say something?
I was going to say that it seems as if there's a pretty large chunk of folks here who might not be totally on board with this Clinton-Kaine ticket. Those people happen to back Bernie Sanders, as we saw Bernie Sanders getting booed just at the mere mention of Clinton-Kaine. What's your take on that?
Yeah. It's a family reunion, and like at every family reunion, you know, there's going to be a spirited conversation, but we're all going to come together. And I think you're going to hear from Senator Sanders tonight call on his supporters to support Secretary Clinton, and I think that's going to be the turning point.
Well, but we saw that earlier, and it didn't seem to work out so well. I guess my question is this: shouldn't Democrats be taking care of these problems before the convention and going into the convention unified in order to avoid distraction and being off message this week? Or are you concerned that booing throughout, I mean, there's an effort by the Clinton camp and the Sanders camp to sort of get together to try to tamp down the Sanders delegates from causing a ruckus on the floor?
You know, we saw the Sanders team in California. They turned out millions of new voters. And so, you know, they're here, they're fired up. It's my first convention. For many of them, it's their first convention. And so we're, you know, they're going to, I think, support Senator Sanders' call. Not every Sanders supporter, I think, is going to come around, but you're going to see the overwhelming majority will, because they want to defeat Donald Trump.
Congressman, let me just ask you about a text that apparently Senator Sanders sent out, to his delegates a short while ago, and it reads, quote, "I ask you as a personal courtesy to me to not engage in any kind of protest on the floor. It is of utmost importance you explain this to your delegations." Signed, Bernie. Isn't that a rather extraordinary thing for a person to be essentially asking on day one of a convention, hours away, really, from when he's slated to speak?
A stately gesture. He came before the Democratic caucus a couple weeks back, and, you know, there were a lot of questions from members about when are you going to get behind Secretary Clinton, and within days he did. And I'll have to say, in the last few weeks, his call for his supporters to get behind Secretary Clinton, his endorsing her plan for debt-free education, I think it shows that he's been a real gentleman, and you know, he's going to be a part of our solution to take down Donald Trump in November.
There are some lingering feelings, though, as, you know, Steve just brought up. You know, the notion that Senator Sanders was booed at the very point in his remarks where he talked about the need to get behind the Clinton-Kaine ticket, that was something to behold. And even the mention of Donald Trump was not enough to sort of turn that room around. What does that say about the state of the Democratic Party? I
think the cacophony tonight is going to be overwhelmingly in support of Senator Sanders and his support for Secretary Clinton. Not everyone is going to agree, and that's fine. That's a part of America. But I think we're going to walk away from this convention with a big bump, and the American people are going to see that they have a candidate supported by Senator Sanders that's going to lift all of us up, not somebody who's going to divide us and play on grievances.
Okay, but what if, just what if, this isn't a unified party coming out of Thursday? What do Democrats do to try to avoid a real internal problem moving forward? I mean, there's a poll that we had out a couple weeks ago asking Sanders voters what they thought about Clinton as a nominee. 64% said that they're disappointed or upset about her as a nominee. Now, this was before he endorsed her, but it was also before the Kaine pick. So that's 2/3 of Sanders voters were disappointed or upset about Clinton as the nominee. That's not going to be easy to change. How do you deal with that in the general election? I mean, you have to make an argument that this needs to be a unified party. You need to get the people who supported Bernie Sanders behind Hillary Clinton in order to take on Donald Trump, no?
Yeah, first, I was a millennial voter who supported someone other than Hillary Clinton. I was behind Governor O'Malley. I'm supporting Secretary Clinton now. Also, when you look back to 2008, you saw 35 to 40% of Hillary Clinton supporters saying we could never support Barack Obama. they came on board, and largely in part because of the class that Secretary Clinton showed when she nominated by acclamation on the floor Senator, then Barack Obama, and now our president. So I think you're going to see that same unity.
What if they don't come on board?
They're going to come on board.
You're 100%.
I'm pretty optimistic. Yeah.
All right. One last question before I let you go. Is it true that you hand out Snapchat flyers to your colleagues in the House? Is that true?
I'm trying to get them to lean in and embrace Snapchat. That's right. That's right. It used to be a place where you could go to avoid your parents. Now everyone is there. So I hope my colleagues join me.
All right. Check him out on Snapchat. Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you so much,
Thank
Congressman.
you.
Really appreciate your time.